Hello, my name is Bob Kreitz and I'm with Grass Valley. Today we're going to talk about a brand new product called K-Frame on AMP. Let's get started. What you're looking at right now is the output of what's called a flow monitor. The instance of the switcher in the cloud is capable of generating its program output and sending it to a Chrome web browser that requires very little bandwidth but will provide a very high quality resolution picture for anybody in the world. This flow monitor is displaying the program output of my switcher instance in the cloud. The other thing to make note of is that here in Akron, Ohio, I'm able to switch between controlling my K-Frame on-prem or controlling the switcher instance of K-Frame on AMP in the cloud. To do that, I'll show you the output of the menu on my control panel and point to the tab in which I make that change. Coming to Engineering Setups and going to Node Settings, all that I'm required to do is come up to the IP address and change it from my local IP of my frame here in Akron, Ohio, to the IP of the PC that's running the software that's connected to the switcher instance. In my case, that is .99. My local frame on-prem is .100. Again, as far as the TD is concerned, at the end of the day, they're simply going to select which switcher they're going to control, whether it be the on-prem or the one in the cloud, and then change its IP address after everything has been set up already. What we're seeing now is a 4-box. Greg Huddy loves to call this the Brady Bunch box. I really have to get Greg and Marcia waving to each other. What we have, though, in the upper left-hand corner is a GoPro taking a look at my close-up of my Corona panel here in Akron, Ohio. The upper right-hand quadrant is a overhead shot of that 2ME Corona panel so that as I work moving forward in this demo, you'll have a good idea as to where my hand is located at. Bottom left, so that you can see it at the exact same time, is that menu that I was talking about earlier. And if we ever need to see it close up, then I'll just select that menu straight up and show you those exact settings. And then, of course, in the bottom right-hand corner is the flow monitor, which is set to be my program output of my switcher instance in the cloud. What I'd like to do is step through just a couple of basic operations, and that would be just simple cuts on my Corona panel. Again, the thing to remember is that to the operator, this is going to drive in the exact same fashion they're used to already. They're used to coming to a K-Frame panel, whether that be a software panel like the KSP, or a Corona panel style, Carrera style, or a Cayenne style, and they're simply going to sit in front of it and expect it to operate the same way. What we're excited to show you is that everything that you see me do here today is driving in that fashion, but connecting to and controlling the switcher instance in the cloud. It's not a remote chassis. This is utilizing the compute, in our case, at AWS, and controlling that switcher instance on its hardware, not our dedicated chassis hardware. So, as I walk through, I'll take my close-up camera over here to give you an idea where I'm at on the program bus, and I'm going to select different sources that are on that flow monitor. So simply by selecting the sources and walking through them, then I'm able to see those switch pretty fast. The delay is sometimes less than a second, and that is utilizing that flow monitor, which is not using a VPN, not using a lot of bandwidth, simply using a Chrome browser, and I'm getting almost instantaneous feedback of what's going on in my switcher in the cloud. So here's my program output as I change between those different sources. I have different test signals available on my switcher instance in the cloud. In this case, I have color bars. I have a red pattern, green, blue, and I'll select this so that you can see where I'm switching these at on my switcher. The other type of input that is available to my switcher instance is something called an HTML renderer. Singular Live is a web-based character generator that allows operators to create graphics and send it as an HTML to my switcher instance in the cloud. And I'm able to generate different signals, which I'll show you a little bit more later on for graphics. The next thing I'd like to point out is that on the Corona panel, it has a secondary touchscreen in which I can go to Program Bus and say, you know what, on this stripe, bottom stripe, I want you to either be Program, in which everything is red in color. I'd like you to be ME1, which everything's in green in color, or ME2, yellow, or back to Program. And it's here then that I can do my normal transitions. So I could select a preset bus and a program bus, and coming to the transition button and selecting and cutting, I'm able to do regular transitions. If I wanted to do a background mix, then I do a background mix. What I'm going to do next is change my flow monitor and your flow monitor to looking, instead of my program output, I'm going to have a look at the switcher instance multiviewer. This multiviewer operates in the exact same fashion that we're used to already. To change that multiviewer layout, I go to the menu and I select under User Setups and Suite Preferences the different type of multiviewer prefs, and it's here that I can select what I want that multiviewer to look like. So my favorite preset is here, and it should be noted that also with the AMP product, you could have additional multi-viewers, additional routing panels, both for global and local sources. But this one is being driven as TDs are used to already, and that is right from the menu display. The reason I wanted to do that was to show you that the preview monitor is located in the upper left-hand box, in which I change different sources. You see them change there accordingly. But then the program monitor is on the right side. So now as I hit the cut button and my transition area, I'm doing a cut between the two. I can do an auto transition between the two, or I can grab the fader bar and either do a mix or a wipe. Right now the wipes on the switcher instance are currently just vertical and just horizontal when it comes to wipes. However, the image store is fully active so that you could have animation or animated transitions from your image store. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. In addition, if I needed to bring a key on, then I simply go to the transition area here, and by pressing the key button, notice how in the upper left-hand corner of the preview monitor, it shows me exactly what the next picture will look like after I do the next transition. If I choose key instead of background, by pressing the key button, now it copied what was in program, put that key over top of that in preview, and shows me exactly what that image will look like after I do the next transition. Same is true for keyer 2, keyer 3, keyer 4, keyer 5, and keyer 6. The type of switcher that I have today is a 3ME switcher, in which there's between 4 and 6 keys, and each of those keyers have their own 2D DVEs. As operators might expect, they can take these keys on and off in any combination, and in fact, select in the background and all 6 keys at one time, so that the 3 keys that are currently on will change and go away as I throw the fader bar, while changing the background and adding 3 more keys. Taking a close look at my preview program monitor on my flow monitor, I see that there's one background with 3 keys online, and I see a different background and 3 different keys in preview, and now I can transition from one background to the other, either as a wipe or more traditionally as a mix. From one background with 3 keys to another background with 3 more keys, all on one ME. As we would expect and as we've gotten used to on a chassis that's on-prem, the big difference here is that this switcher is utilizing the AMP technology at my AWS station located in Portland, Oregon. The next thing that I want to walk you through is some of the EMEM recalls. Macro functionality is available and has the ability of learning and recalling macros and even editing macros if I need to. But up here in the upper right-hand corner is the master EMEM area. And in this master EMEM, I'm going to recall some different effects just as snapshots. And you can see those things take place. Here, I'll show you what I'm doing just on the master recall itself. But then I want to jump back to showing you my flow monitor, and you can watch instantly how it recalls those EMEMs directly. Remember, on this particular effect, see that singular live graphic? On that graphic, that happens to be key number 1. It's simply a HTML pointer going to an HTML renderer on my switcher instance in the cloud, and I can have multiple channels here. For instance, there's channel 1, here's channel 2, and here's channel 3 that I'm able to select or put all 3 of them on the screen at one time. So this does support graphics that can be generated and then transferred directly as a direct input into my switcher instance. Some of my other EMEM recalls will include the ability of simple boxes over a background. So in this case, I have 4 boxes as a direct EMEM recall. But if I wanted some of those boxes to have a timeline to them, then I have that capability as well. So up in the master EMEM, I've selected a register. We'll notice that I now have the reverse, rewind, and run button. And when I run this, then I get this sort of effect. I'll put the flow monitor back up for you and run it. And there I'm able to push that box back, turn the reverse light, or bring the box forward. On my next EMEM register, if I wanted to push 2 boxes back, 2 boxes, and then bring that back forward, and even if I needed 3 boxes, then I'm capable of doing that and pushing back 3 boxes over 1, and then reversing that and running it full again. So, again, the bottom line is this is driving and feeling just like a traditional control panel operating a K-frame. As Greg Huddy likes to say, it's now any control panel on any engine. We used to say chassis, but now that now includes the switcher instance in the cloud. Lastly, a couple things I'd like to show you is the tight integration that we have when utilizing our image store. You may know already that our internal image store is capable of supporting both stills and animation. In fact, as we look at the menu, here's a look at my stills, here's a look at my movies, and on this next effect, what I'm going to do is recall an effect that runs an animation from the Portland, Oregon ducks. Let's go to here. Bear with me one moment. And now as I run this transition, it's doing a transition from the Portland, Oregon ducks to ducks on the water. The story behind the ducks on the water is that it is being played back from a clip player. I can have multiple clip players at my instance in the cloud. It plays video plus key in each of its channels, and I could use it as transitions, but in this case the transition that you're witnessing is the direct image store animation clip playing back between these 2 clips. The other thing that I should have noted is that the Portland, Oregon ducks are actually playing back from a K2 server located here in Akron, Ohio. So in a whirlwind tour, that is some of the things that we are currently doing by utilizing existing control panels on K-frame, but talking to switcher instances in the cloud. And by the way, if you wanted to host your own cloud, that's a possibility as well. And we're not just locked into AWS. We provide the ability of going with like a Microsoft Azure or even Google solution as well. I hope this has been helpful. Please refer to our website under our AMP product, specifically K-Frame on AMP, for more information. Thank you so much, and until next time, this is Bob signing off. Goodbye.